Welcome to Jamaica Magazine, the program that provides you with useful information to make wise decisions. I'm Adrian Atkinson. Today we tell you about the role of the Revenue Appeals Division, take you downtown along the waterfront and recapture the colors, sights and sounds of a memorable farewell for the Most Honorable Edward Seaga. We start things off with this powerful reflection. Never limit yourself to what you can't do, but to do what you have the power to do with what you have. From author Geddes Richards. Stay with us.
Want some water, Virgin, please?
Water gone.
But me need water for cook. So how me go wash?
Let's weather the drought. Start conservation measures today. Check for leaks around your house. Opt for shorter showers over long baths. Reuse water to water plants and lawn. Watch the amount of water you and your family use. Try cooking methods that don't require much water. And if you have a vehicle, avoid washing it regularly. Remember, water is as important as the air we breathe. So conserve our water, conserve our life.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Thursday, June 27. St. Thomas is tapped to host the island's first new urban centre in 40 years. Ground was broken on Wednesday for the Morant Bay Urban Centre, which is being created at the site of the old Goodyear factory at Springfield in the parish at a cost of $49.8 million. It's a project of the Factories Corporation of Jamaica and will occupy 365,000 square feet of space. The urban centre will bring together a combination of government and private sector services in a convenient and efficient manner. Prime Minister Andrew Holness says about 3,000 jobs are expected to come with the development.
This is an important project. It is a signal project. It is a project that will say to the people of Jamaica, through the people of St. Thomas, that the government is serious about their development. So we must make sure that this project happens in time and within the budget, and that the people can be proud of this development.
3 divisions of the Jamaica Constabulary Force are to benefit from energy-efficient air conditioning retrofits over the next 12 months. The Petroleum Corporation of Jamaica, PCJ, has signed a contract with Geddes Refrigeration Limited to do the work. Air conditioning solutions will be installed at the JCF's Mobile Reserve Headquarters in Kingston, the Maypen Division Headquarters in Clarendon, and the National Police College at Twickenham Park in St. Catherine. The projects are being implemented through PCJ's Energy Efficiency and Conservation Program, EECP, at a combined cost of $126.5 million. Once installation is completed, it is anticipated that there will be an overall reduction in electricity consumption and operating costs at the 3 locations. Minister of Science, Energy and Technology Favour Williams has called on those responsible for executing the project to ensure that the government and people of Jamaica get good value for every dollar spent. A human trafficking survivors handbook has been produced as a guide for delivering support services to persons affected by the crime. The handbook was produced by the Office of the National Rapporteur on Trafficking in Persons.
The importance of providing survivors of human trafficking with the necessary information about their rights and the support services available to them in Jamaica cannot be overestimated. In fact, it will play a critical role in their ability to recover from the ordeal and trauma endured during their trafficking episode.
The Human Trafficking Survivors Handbook was launched in Kingston on Wednesday, along with an e-learning platform.
The e-learning platform, of course, will be a sustainable means of strengthening the knowledge base of the different service providers and frontline stakeholders who work in the field of human trafficking.
Jamaica is currently reported as a hub for human trafficking and has a Tier 2 ranking in the U.S. Department of State's Trafficking in Persons report. The National Security Minister has declared that under his stewardship, there will be renewed energies funneled into combating this scourge. By the end of this week, the Department of Correctional Services, DCS, will be able to electronically track the progress of children from their arrival into correctional centers and their participation in rehabilitation programs to their re-entry into society. The first phase of the electronic case management system was launched on Tuesday and should be operational in all juvenile correctional facilities by Friday. It was initiated out of a memorandum of understanding with the Organization of American States, with funding support from the USAID and DCS under the program A New Path. The system evaluates the children's background, risk and protective factors and assigns a team of support workers to each child based on his or her individual needs. Its user-friendly tools can provide calendar updates for court cases and classes, among other rehabilitation activities. The next phase of the system will be finalized by September 2019 and involves extending it to the adult correctional centers, the courts, and the Jamaica Constabulary Force. Falmouth now has an $11.5 million traffic signal system, the first of its kind in the parish. The traffic signals were commissioned on the weekend by the National Works Agency under the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation's Traffic Management and Control Program. It follows safety concerns about the lack of signals at the intersection of the busy North Coast Highway and the road leading to Danieltown in Trelawney. Pedestrians are now able to activate the pedestrian signal through a push-button activated system, which will indicate when it is safe to cross. And finally, government will be increasing investments in sport facilities as it pursues a comprehensive infrastructure program to attract and earn more from the hosting of international events.
We're engaging in deliberate and strategic actions to develop markets in sport enterprises through manufacturing of sport goods and the offerings of services such as sport administration and the marketing and planning of sport events.
Minister Grange was addressing a session of the 8th Biennial Jamaica Diaspora Conference held recently at the Jamaica Conference Centre in downtown Kingston. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
Don't make diseases spread. Wash your hands with soap and water instead. Wash them regular or use a hand sanitizer. Make sure the germs them dead. Touching your eyes or your mouth or your nose. Wash your hands before you do things like those. After you use the bathroom before preparing food, come on, wash your hand them clean.
Do you know which agency of government to contact if you are not in agreement with a tax assessment? That would be the Revenue Appeals Division. This is where a review will be done by an independent body. For an overview of this unit, here is Commissioner Dr. Delary Staple-Chambers.
Hello and welcome to Finance Matters, a production of the Communication and Public Relations Branch of the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service. I'm your host, Daniel Pasley, and today we'll be speaking to Commissioner of the Revenue Appeals Division, Dr. Delary Staple-Chambers. Thank you so much, Commissioner, for coming on the program.
Thank you, Daniel. I'm happy to be here.
Great. So when people think about revenue appeal, or should I say revenue appeals, what is it all about?
Okay, the Revenue Appeals Division is the arm of government that has provided a mechanism wherein persons who feel aggrieved about a tax assessment, they can question that assessment and have a review done by an independent body. The mandate is founded in law. The Revenue Appeals Division Act of 2015 provides the legal provisions under which such appeals can be managed. Persons are able to file an appeal against 14 different tax types, including income tax, PAYE, company income tax, education tax, GCT, customs duties, and all the other tax types that fall under the GCT Act, including stamp duty and the transfer tax. Once a person has received a decision from either the Commission of Jamaica Customs or the Tax Administration Jamaica, and they feel that that decision was in error, or they do not agree with the way in which a decision was made, they can use the services of the Revenue Appeals Division.
So this process is more seamless and it's within a shorter time frame, right?
Well, the mechanism is a quasi-judicial mechanism, meaning that you do not need the services of an attorney to access the service. So it's not a court, it's an administrative mechanism, and you as a taxpayer can serve yourself. You do not need to employ an attorney or even an accountant for that matter. That doesn't mean you cannot do it, but it's not necessary. And yes, what the mechanism is designed to do is to make accessing appeal more cost-effective and more efficient.
So in that case, if I'm interested in filing a complaint, what is the first step?
Well, the very first step is that you have to complete the Revenue Appeals form, which is called the RA01. That form is available on the Ministry of Finance website, or you can pick up hard copies at different tax offices across Jamaica, or even at our offices at 12 Ocean Boulevard, Kingston. Once you have received that form, you complete it in its entirety, and what it does is structure the information and provide a guide of the kind of documents and support that you need to support your appeal. You must also attach to that form a copy of the decision that you are appealing, as well as a list of the evidence that you will rely on to make your case. You submit that to the Revenue Appeals Division, and you can do that by bearer, through the post, or even email. And once we receive that, we will issue with a receipt to ensure, to let you know that we have accepted your appeal, and to also inform you of what to expect in the matter being handled. We provide you with a reference number where you can use that to track the process of your appeal. The mechanism that is provided in the Revenue Appeals Division Act of 2015 also provide new mechanisms or new processes under which the appeals can be addressed. So before we had only one standard process. Now we have multiple processes which can be used to resolve the appeal based on the complexity of the appeal or the nature of the appeal. And so what that has done is to provide efficiency mechanisms so that matters can be turned around in a faster time frame.
Thank you so much, Dr. Delary Staple-Chambers, for coming on the program, and I want to thank you, our viewers, for watching Finance Matters. I'm your host, Daniel Pasley, and on behalf of the hardworking production team, we'll see you next time.
We bid farewell to the Most Honourable Edward Seaga on Sunday with a lovely ecumenical service at the Cathedral of the Most Holy Trinity on North Street in Kingston. Along the streets there were expressions of colours, sounds and sights as the people celebrated his life. Here's a recap.
The 1,000-seat capacity church was full. Government officials from near and far were in attendance. Friends, relatives and well-wishers had a bird's-eye view of the proceedings. It was, however, the sights and sounds on the outside which provided further proof that a great man had died. Bystanders braved Sunday's 33 degrees Celsius temperature, as reported by the Met Service, to say one last time, "I love you," former Prime Minister Edward Philip George Seaga. Hours before the start of the 12 p.m. ceremony, persons were arriving. They weren't sure if they would get a seat inside the church, but they traveled from every corner of the country.
I'm all the way from Westmoreland just to say goodbye and rest in peace.
We are from Rocky Point to pay a visit to our nice hero.
It is so important to be here at Papa Eddie's funeral. He's such a good man, and I'm blessed to be here.
It is a pleasure for me to be here at Mr. Seaga's funeral. Over the years, from a little lad coming up, I hear a lot about Mr. Seaga. My mother used to tell me a lot about him. Things like this we prepare from overnight. So I wake up from 6 o'clock and start ready, reach here about 10:30.
It's my last farewell to a great guy, and wish his family and all his survivors all the best. It's a beautiful service, and just like Seaga would have liked it. A lot of folklore and culture going in it, so I'm very happy.
I need to be here to see what's happening. One man like Mr. Seaga, who, you know, one is for us, the poorer class of people. Yeah, man, I have to be here.
As expected, supporters of the Jamaica Labour Party, which he led for 31 years, were out in the hundreds. Some of whom who watched from the sidelines, ringing bells, waving, drumming to their own beat as a final mark of respect to Mr. Seaga.
Today, I came out to show my respect to a great leader.
Seaga is the only MP I ever get anything from. When I used to live on North Street, 24 North Street, a fire was in the yard. But the fire was upstairs, I was living downstairs. And he came, because he was the MP at the time. And he said to us, "You all right?" I said yes, because we didn't really burn out. He said upstairs, I live downstairs. He said whether you burn out or not, everybody in the yard getting something.
It is an historic moment. It is, I don't know if I will witness another Edward Seaga in my lifetime. I like the fact that there is many religious representation.
He was honored too with emblems and paraphernalia of various types and forms. A colorful personality Mr. Seaga was, so too the mourners celebrating his life.
I had to bring me the way here, you know. I didn't tell me how to dress.
Because people from Seaga did me for do that hairstyle, yeah.
This is a design by the Premier Lady, which is Andre Stevens, and I wanted to do white because of the heat. Andre is a personal friend of mine, and I called him up and said, "Andre, listen, I need something for Mr. Seaga's funeral," and we whipped up something together.
It's an African print material, and everywhere I walk, people say they like it. I pick it up about Thursday night. Yeah, and I wear it today.
Among the features of the state funeral was this 1974 Land Rover, made the same year Mr. Seaga took over as party leader. The 45-year-old Jeep pulled the gun carriage that transported the former Prime Minister's body to National Heroes Park. Persons watched from various points along the 2-kilometer trek from the church to the park. Farewell, Mr. Seaga, a man for the people.
Hurricanes can strike at any time. In the event of one, be prepared to act quickly. If a hurricane watch or warning has been issued, review your home disaster response plan. Map out likely routes to evacuate if your home is at risk, and confirm with relatives or friends you plan to stay with. Also, confirm the location of the nearest shelter. Check your emergency supplies and restock if necessary. Remember, disasters do happen, so be prepared.
The following is brought to you by MOCA, the major organized crime and anti-corruption agency with kind support of NIA and USAID.
Criminal minds think they are cunning. The major organized crime and anti-corruption agency have them running. Your friend a shout, come scam. Take time running, are we ready for the ops? Drive up on your block, step out now me block, cyber take about your laptop. Pull up every lock, no evidence a drop. We put it in a cuffs and now we have the underground. Sin you say scam, you better look out for. When you move corrupt, better look out for. They say you get where, look out for. Look out for, look out for. From you say scam, you better look out for. When you move corrupt, better look out for. Please say you get where, look out for. Look out for, look out for.
The proceeding was brought to you by MOCA, the major organized crime and anti-corruption agency with the kind support of NIA and USAID.
MOCA, MOCA.
I'm quite pleased with the development here because it offers a lot of just access to downtown right now.
The revitalization of downtown Kingston has been gaining momentum as the Urban Development Corporation UDC continues to partner with investors in facilitating the redevelopment plans. As a result, significant physical transformation has taken place over the last decade in the area. One of the first was led by multinational telecommunication giant Digicel. It constructed its global headquarters on prime waterfront property sold by the UDC. Over on Hanover Street is the new Chris Kennedy's multi-story complex. This will increase the offerings downtown as the entity makes plans to open a supermarket on the building. This property was also made available by the UDC. And nearby is the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade Development, being managed by the UDC. This multi-story building is now the ministry's permanent headquarters. Bringing tremendous vitality to the recreational and gastronomy options along the waterfront is the Victoria Pier building, a variety of offerings for the taking.
It's really good for downtown and they're loving it.
I'm very encouraged that the persons saw it fit to develop this part of the city next to the waterfront where you can really enjoy the ambience.
Investment opportunities are on the market for a concessionaire to operate the food bazaar at Festival Marketplace and a developer for a multi-story parking garage. The uptake in business in the downtown area is being facilitated through the tax incentive program being managed by the UDC. It was developed to encourage the private sector to redevelop properties to stop urban decay in selected areas. The tax incentive program enables persons who own or lease property in areas defined as special development areas to access incentives to redevelop the properties under the 1995 Urban Renewal Tax Relief Act. As part of the redevelopment of downtown Kingston is regulating informal commercial activities by providing appropriate areas to do business in the market district. As such, the Red Rose Fish Market and Jubilee Market have been completed by the UDC on behalf of the Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation. These will allow for smoother transaction of business for vendors and consumers. Adding to the socio-cultural vitality is the craft market. Coming on stream is the development of the National Heroes Park and surrounding areas, Government Oval. The park will be the new location for the Houses of Parliament, for which the design has been selected from a public tendered competition. The redevelopment of downtown Kingston is being guided by the phased implementation of the UDC's Downtown Kingston and Port Royal Redevelopment Plan 2030. It is aligned to the Vision 2030 Jamaica National Development Plan. Aspects of the plan already completed include the construction of a bus park, one component of a multimodal transport centre, and the upgrading of St. William Grant Park. The corporation sees downtown Kingston as the city of possibilities, the ideal location for work, leisure, culture, gastronomy, and entertainment.
So we really enjoy the downtown redevelopment because if not, we would have been somewhere else, and I hope it continues.
I would love to see people come downtown and help with the development because the waterfront is growing, it's getting bigger. And in any country that you go to, the waterfront and downtown is the most lucrative place you could ever have.
The Urban Development Corporation, making development happen for you. To learn more about the work of the Urban Development Corporation, call 876-656-8031 or visit their website at www.udcja.com. You may also follow them on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram, or visit their information center on the ground floor, Kingston Mall, downtown Kingston.
Traffic lights till somebody get hurt and the tears start cry. Save a life for the kids, for you and I. Save kids' lives. Make the road safe whether day or night, for pedestrians, passengers, cars and bikes. Save a life for the kids, for you and I. Save kids' lives.
Hey, man, It's our job to keep the road them safe. Have to take care of the youth them so we know them safe. And obey the road code. Don't race, no bother with the speeding case. Make face and check your light them at your tires and brakes. Riders on the pillions who left the helmet. Put on the cell phone, no send no text. No matter what color they on your plate.
When you're on the road, take your time. When you're on the road, bear this in mind. When you're on the road, you can save a life. When you're on the road, when you're on the road, I beg you please be safe. Wear your seatbelt to keep you safe, and make sure your helmet's in place when you're on the road.
Hey, follow me. Well, everybody drive good and walk good. Then teach the youth them how to cross good. I beg you obey the road signs, park good. And put the young ones in a car seats, all good. And everybody drive good and walk good. And we say young and old, I beg you cross good. Remember the dark clothes at night, that is not good. From you I use up the sidewalk, it's all good.
When you're on the road, take your time. When you're on the road, bear this in mind. When you're on the road, you can save a life. When you're on the road, when you're on the road, I beg you please be safe. Wear your seatbelt to keep you safe, and make sure your helmet's in place. When you're on the road, when you're on the road, when you're on the road.
As we close today's show, we ask that you stay connected via our website, jis.gov.jm. And while you're online, send your feedback to jamaicamagazine@jis.gov.jm or via tweet at JIS News. On behalf of the entire production crew, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Do take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.